Oh, it's
Alright, we're gonna go ahead and get started.
It's a week.
Lynn is traveling.
Yeah.
She's gonna try to.
Yeah, we'll just jump right into June 10th and June 24th meetings. Anyone have any questions on that? No one here, and then we've got the resolution approving the IT. Would we be talking about that tonight?
No.
No?
No.
So you'll be talking about it on Tuesday's meeting?
I'll be talking about it in my weekly summary.
For the next meeting was the change order for Kelly Oaks Trail. Was that a big thing? Was that just something left over at the end? We got a resolution on a change order and then another pay application right here. Kelly Oaks Trail is
Because
coming.
that was the final.
The final pay app?
There was a small change order too that I think was approved earlier. I don't think it was very
Oh,
big.
sure, it amounted to a few $100.
Oh. Okay. So this is the closeout.
Yeah. The others will be just a retainage. Pay application number 6.
Any other questions on the 10th? Go to the 24th. On there right now.
Nothing there yet.
Not, we'll go ahead and move on to department head discussion.
Have we had any feedback, I'm sorry, have we had any feedback on the ordinance of the fences?
Nothing.
We got more applications.
No, I don't think so. We get any more fence applications this week? Okay,
Haven't had it for a couple weeks.
Okay. all right. I was out for a week, so I'm not sure if it was that rolled in.
And the final completion on that Kelly Oak Park, in case anybody's wondering, I mean, I did pass through there a couple different times, you know, checking things out. There are some minimal restoration areas in there. But like I said earlier, in a couple meetings ago, you know, there's gonna be some areas we're gonna have to address. It's just a matter of getting some, you know, the majority of the grass established and going back and addressing those areas later and whatever we're gonna have to do to restore them ourselves.
Looking good.
Department head. Mike?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be here next Tuesday. I'm gonna be on vacation. So I gave you guys all my reports. So if you have any questions on it, just get a hold of me. We'll kind of go through a little bit of it. Just to let you know, the bike rodeo, we had that last Saturday, great turnout for it. We gave out 38 helmets and those are all free helmets that, you know, we got donations from. And, you know, there was a family that came and said that they just could not afford helmets. And they thought it was just a great program. So that's a good thing, you know, that we can help out some people that just don't have the money to get those items, you know. Overall, great event. The Outrun for Raise event, we had that, what was it, May 17th. That went fine. Everything went good on that. We had the same old run as last, you know, the same run. Everything went well with it. They had a total of 406 runners registered for the event. And just so you know, the most was over 500. So it was still a good turnout. They were happy with the turnout for that.
Maybe if we move it out in December, that will.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that went well. Fire department helped me out with that. We got the roads closed and try to get people through as much as possible. It's hard because it's just right in the middle of the city where it just bottles up everybody. And we just did the best we could with it. Phones for Cops, it's that seasonal summer program we do. Basically, if kids are, we drive around squad cars and we see kids that are either wearing helmets or safety equipment or doing good deeds, we'll give out free ice cream vouchers again. It's a great little program that we do. Kids love it. They love seeing it. So other than that, that's about all I got for you on it.
Have any questions for the chief? Dean, what do you got for us?
Yeah, just a couple things bigger things that we had taken care of. And obviously in the neighborhood of a few council members up in Royal Oak, we had some crack filling taking place. Were a couple complaints, addressed some complaints, hopefully it's taken care of for next time coming in. The response I got back out of that was they were trying to beat the heat that day and trying to get it finished up before the rain event coming up. But brought it to their attention, told them not to, try to avoid making that happen again. Trying to get, the creek down here, trying to do a little more restoration on that, little by little. As I talked to Annette, the other day, it's not something we're gonna accomplish the whole thing this year, but we are gonna work on getting as much as, accomplished as we possibly can to try to prevent the beavers, from coming back if we do get rid of them. In the upcoming week here, possibly two, we will see Cruiser in town again doing some sewer jetting. So once they get here, I will have Shawnee put notice out on the areas that they are going to be taken care of. So like I say, once I get notice from them, we'll put a notice out, but probably gonna be focused on the Royal Oaks area again. Over in Crosby Court there where everything's established up there with the apartments. Get that taken care of, get that camera just to make sure all that pipe's in good shape and everything up there. So other than that, I am working on trying to make a trade deal on one of the vehicles. They must be in hot commodity now because as soon as I can get prices on one and try to compare them with another and respond back to one, they're gone. So still trying to make that accomplishment before here end of fiscal year. So keep working on that. But other than that,
Is that just because everybody's doing the same thing as you?
must be because it's all the particular vehicles
Before the
everything.
fiscal year.
Yep. So, yeah, so it must be one of them things that everybody's trying to get accomplished before year end. So. Other than that, I really don't have anything. And I don't know, if anybody's got any questions or concerns about things that are going on out there?
I did notice where we did the turn lane project in front of like PD there. Are we gonna spray that for weeds? They're starting to get pretty tall.
In the green spaces?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're hoping we can manage them with just by cutting it all the time. Yeah. If not, if we spray it too early with that young vegetation, kind of kills that off too. So we have to,
Let it grow a little bit.
yeah, try to manage it with the grass cutting. But yeah. It's definitely been a challenge trying to get that grass to come.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Anything
Anything else?
All right, thanks, Dean.
Yes,
Stacy?
thank you.
I will start with PCC stuff and then, I have some stuff on, board docs after that. But mainly PCC, it's just busy. Day camp started this week, baseball. T-ball starting next week, actually. So that's all good. All of it's going well. A lot of random mini projects that are happening, a lot of things breaking down. The floor obviously got replaced, so that's done. It's nice. We just had some issues with, we needed sprinkler system. We've had some people out. All seasons came out. We have a couple of repairs there. Our elevator broke down, so we had repairs there. Our door at the bottom of the staircase broke down, so we have whatever there. So there's just been a lot of just little, like not huge things, which is nice, but just little fun. So, kind of a work in progress, but we'll keep on keeping on. Any questions with PCC stuff? All right, the next step is park stuff. So, I've kind of, Brian, Justin kind of talked about the last parks meeting to possibly bring, up the discussion of the pavilion. Kind of show, I have it in administration, Marcy. I don't know if you can, if that's different or if that's, I don't know, that could be my bad. So I put it on here. I have, the drawing, the prices, and just kind of, I don't know exactly what we want to talk about, but kind of show you where we're at. And then, we're trying to come up with a game plan for how we make it a reality. So, beautiful. All right, so the first one is the picture of kind of what the architect has come up with. As far as the design, the layout, of it, everything we've talked about in the past, as far as, a space that holds, what did we say, 180 to 100? So with a storage area with bathrooms, indoor bathrooms for people using the shelters. for people using the park, so there's always one open. And so, yeah, so moral of the story is, obviously when this came back, it came back a lot more than what we have. And so we were kind of, obviously, we were trying to do some fundraising, we're gonna try to do grants as well. Or additional grants, but just kind of wanted to see if there's any other revenue sources, if the chance of a future bond. I don't know if Dustin, Brian, you have any?
We pushed the architect pretty hard because we're trying to see how much conservatism was in these numbers or whatnot. He said, really, until we bid it, we don't know. We won't know. So we asked for the contingency, like what could we change in the design to significantly alter the price? So that stuff's in there too. It doesn't look like we can alter it by more than about $100,000 or something. So until we bid it, we're not gonna really know. It's crazy that it's $900,000, you know, a cement building with a roof. I mean, it's nicer than that, but we'd have to completely make it an open pavilion without closed sides or anything like that. It'd probably change the look. So it's just kind of plain Jane to really significantly impact the cost at all. And the sense of the Parks Committee was, we really want to keep going to make this our marquee park. And it's not going to get cheaper. So those were kind of the two big things that came out of our discussion. So before we back out the design, we thought we'd lean toward trying to put something out to bid and seeing what we actually came up with, and then asking the question about bonding, you know. from
So
a
how much
city
money do we
standpoint.
have?
I think the last time I did the budget, the last meeting, we were at 550-ish,
Yeah. Not
Have
counting
I know we've tried
Yeah.
not
to,
including parking lot, correct?
so I know we've tried to fundraise with businesses, whatnot, have we had any luck with that at all?
No, I mean, there's still little things I wanna do, as soon as I've been, like I said, I started the scavenger hunts, in the attempt that it was gonna lead up to something more, to do more, but like, as far as like residents and get their engagement. But even there is gonna be $100 donation, $500 donation, like, it's not gonna be a $50,000 donation or $100,000 donation. We initially, when we first started this, went to businesses, and didn't have a whole lot of luck. My DM is donating, the sign for Kelly Oaks. Dubuque, what bank is that? Is it?
Really?
No, it's not. Did 2,500, in that push, but that's kind of the, you know, I've talked to different people, Colony Brands, like, it's just to give monies. Ace Hardware, you know, if you need help with anything, we'll help with something, but I can't give you monies, like, has been a lot of what I've got.
Have we reached out to any of our major partners and asked if they want to put their name on it?
I mean, so when we initially sent out our first book, like, we had naming rights within it, like, you know, if you wanna give a $200,000 donation to get your name on this, or $10,000 donation to get your name on this, and we haven't had any bites, no.
So that's like Alliance.
So I haven't, that was all Piasta businesses.
I'm just saying,
So to
like,
say
big businesses
Alliant,
that
I
make
have
a lot
not,
of-
no.
A lot of business.
Yep.
The businesses that make a lot of money off of us,
Yep,
not just the city, but like the residents.
yep.
Maybe they want to put their name on it.
Is that within Alliance area or is that Coconut Valley?
I just throw it out there.
To say it.
Yeah.
Coconut Valley,
I didn't bring the
area.
checkbook.
Coconut
Just,
Valley.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Alliance, Cocoa Valley, whatever, Black Hills.
Uncle.
Got
I
the
mean,
hook
I'm giving it to you, I'm gonna give it around 8, I'm gonna answer for you, it'll run.
But yeah, so regardless, that's where we're at. So we're gonna move forward. That's kind of what the park board decided, was to move forward with the bidding process, knowing that we didn't for sure have the funds for it, and try to continue to get more funds in the meantime. To see how short we are.
I guess one of my thoughts was, what if we do some sort of like soft trial just to get public input on what their thought is? Before we
With design.
start talking about sending it out to bid, which means we're gonna have to have a vote on it.
You mean a soft opening to show the community?
Yeah, be like, hey, let's get this out there, get this design out there and say, you know, is this something that you guys would
Be excited about.
I think people would be extremely excited.
Yeah.
But then when they say your taxes are going up 2%, then they're gonna get squeamish.
I mean, that's the
That's
reality.
reality, I understand it, they're just, they're just,
There's no sense in like, let's go send this out to bid knowing that we can't bond it, we're gonna do it. I mean, the bond won't pass. At least we'll have an idea, okay, it's 50-50 shot, maybe. You know, if it's 20% saying, yeah, we'll do it, and the other 80 saying, no way.
Doesn't we?
Are we saying survey? Is that what I'm hearing? Like some type of,
no.
I think you,
no survey?
I think you wanna do it at an event out there, like get people out there so they see the design. And they're gonna be utilizing the park.
You're referring strictly to cost, right, Justin? You're referring strictly to cost, not to design, correct?
Well, cost and design, I mean, this is the building that we want.
When you wanna have those relatively hard numbers, probably good.
I think that
Well,
950,000
that.
is.
Where's our hard number?
I mean, that's that number.
Oh, we really think that that's.
See,
what's gonna
you're
come
looking
back.
to sell the sizzle before
I think it'll come back less than
find out
that.
what it's gonna cost.
I fear.
Yeah, and we very well could have
Cost of
separate
contractors
directors and things that wanna put their name on it and do something.
Then all we're
You
gonna
know,
do
underneath
is circle
Tally up,
pieces.
tally up even
Yeah,
more
like
than
we
that.
talked about like Germain Electric or
Right.
companies we work with
They might
giving.
do something.
You have conversations.
It has to go public bid.
We talked about that too, but that's gonna be a
So
little.
the general has to do that and then they can give their portion of that back.
So we can't have conversations with
No,
the subs first.
Mhm.
be a general contractor that'll bid it. They'll be the ones reaching out to subs for these different parts.
We had a sub, electric sub and said, I wanna get can't factor that into the bids.
So I thought my understanding of that was that that sub will then tell them to put whoever general reaches out to them put 0 for that amount. So that would be included within their bid. Or giving labor, so it's a discounted whatever, so you're just paying for supplies or that might be.
It's a good point, though. We need to make sure that the major subcontractors that might bid into this know that we're willing to do right, naming deals and that sort of thing in exchange for, you know, in-kind work or whatever. And do that, how do we communicate?
It's kind of a
That's
gray
the number.
area with the public bid system.
Yeah,
It has to be almost like
it has to be transparent.
through them.
Yeah.
And then basically they donate the money back. So they're getting paid through the contract and the money put back.
But everybody has to take, it has to-
I think they have to be
You have to
paid.
pay the bill and then.
My fear of that would be that the contractors may put in at a higher bid to offset that
Yeah.
donation.
Oh,
If there's verbiage of that sort put within that contract. In the bidding process, because in advance, they're knowing that they're donating a portion back, so they may try to offset some of that donation. If we try to do that, that would be my fear.
But if the net is still that we're gonna pay, if the net effect is we're still only gonna pay this much. Even if they put their bid in 100,000 over, let's just say, let's throw a number out. We know their actual bid is gonna be 100,000. Cause we're getting that work for free or whatever.
I hear a lot of legal
I
questions.
guess, yeah, it's hard, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't say.
Yeah, that not
It's gonna
having,
be different options.
not having a 501c3 is
Right.
making the shorts on this project. That's-
I mean, maybe Justin's right, we should figure out how we could get significant public conversation on what they support it, because I hear a lot of support in the community with a lot of people with kids and things for developing the park. Now, what does it mean to the individual taxpayer and what part would we have to bond for and what would that mean? We could do that along with this financial picture and I'd say more pictures of the design, not just a couple. Then the question is, how do you get people to engage in it? So you actually, you know, more than
What's
20
your
people
emotions
see it.
worth at this point? I mean, if you're emotionally attached to it, you want it. I mean, what's that worth
Right,
gonna cost you?
right. And it will never get cheaper.
The more,
And we can simplify it to make it something that people don't want. And it'll still cost us $500,000.
Yeah.
So that's the discussion we had.
$650,000 for an open air.
For an open air pavilion, it's probably 600 grand by the time we get electricity and. I don't either.
The cameras.
We've asked the architect a couple of times. It just seems crazy to me, but
The one in Macokota off of 61,
yeah,
like across this highway from, what is that, the observation place? They've got an open air pavilion over there.
Yeah.
$650,000.
so that's it.
We're
A cement pad with an open air pavilion,
In a
600 grand,
So
or
you're saying, so
something open, closed, attractive, rented.
you're saying let's put together a open house type situation where we have the pictures of the pavilion. All of, this is the cost, this is what we have. If we bond this, it's gonna cost each taxpayer
X, yeah,
X amount of dollars per thousand of value.
never been through one of those, but they'd have to vote for the bonds.
But I mean, just let's lay it out. Are we
Yeah,
interested?
this is
or-
what it is, otherwise it's Kelly Oaks Park without a pavilion, probably. You know,
Which I don't know how that works, considering everything we've done is
For grants. and all
for all the
things.
grants we've got.
true, we'd
all the
probably just
stuff
have to do
is
the
for pavilion.
open air thing
Something
with
else.
picnic tables.
Yeah, we would
That
put
be
it,
what it
just,
is.
you said we've got 550.
550.
So I mean, we could do the open air.
One of them's 2 grants, right, Wellmark and.
Wellmark was for the trail, the REAP and the DRA, or yeah, the are both for the pavilion.
And we have to use that.
Did the open air include restrooms?
So we never went down the open air path. Like that was, this
Have
was
them
the
design it.
path that
They didn't design
we
it.
went down. My guess is if we completely change it, our architect costs are obviously gonna go up because that changes everything.
So,
I don't think you're gonna rent out an open air. I mean,
yeah,
graduation parties and stuff, you're gonna rent that.
yeah, that,
In open air, you're probably not gonna get a whole lot
I
of
bet
it.
you'd be surprised. Cause we don't have anything else.
For $100, I know I got a place.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
then obviously we're not gonna rent out open air out front.
Do we rent that pavilion over by the fire station? That's just
No.
free. We don't even reserve it. People
No,
reserve
no,
it.
it's like first come, first serve.
So, see, that'd be, well, we don't rent that one.
Yeah.
Why you rent this one? You know, we've got a precedent kind of set.
Well, we can change that.
Yeah.
we come up with a theme. that is for-
And I think we would, like, to me, when we introduce renting out, we do both. I mean, we intro it.
I would like to see if there's a way we can figure this one. Before we,
Sure.
And that was the sentiment of the Parks Committee. It's like we put a lot of time into what we think the community really wants. And then we're just
my thoughts would
shot
be,
right
we would go and take the alliance, they just send them a letter, or call them and say, look, we've got this, put your name on it. It's gonna cost you $400,000. Worst case scenario, you're gonna tell you no.
I mean, I heard of people getting yeses to those questions. Fortunately, not in Piasta.
Right.
But yeah, I mean. I find out.
And I think,
Make sure whose area that is.
right,
Rolled over.
and then
I've almost shut down Amber Valley.
That's what.
if that goes, gets us nowhere, I think we do the open house type thing and have all the monies we point out with taxes and whatnot.
The problem with the open house idea, I love the idea. We've just tried to do a few of them and we've not gotten very many people there. And so
But
I
if
think
you
we have
put-
to.
I think if you
do
put
some
that
type
picture
of-
on Facebook.
Yep.
With everybody, I think people would.
Maybe come start by and,
Yes.
Do like a movie night.
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm
Have
thinking.
it
is we
start
could
like a
pair it
half
with
hour
something.
earlier and everybody can come look at that.
Cause like everybody you talk to wants something.
Agreed.
It's just how we feel.
That's all we got.
That's it.
That's
Just that, just that. They need $100 ask. You guys figure it out.
100?
Nope.
Or
$1 million.
$1 ask.
Just need $1 million.
Half?
Then I'm out of here for a reason.
Just half.
I do.
Yeah, I tell you what, I won't show up to any more meetings.
This one.
I think we're good there. Any other questions before we move on? End of the table.
Got lots of questions, but we can't answer,
Yeah.
they're not answerable.
Okay.
Wheels are turning, no traction.
No, that's good. We've got the applicant from Kleesner. I'd like to have the final discussion on
It's very loud.
the changing of the time. Lexi had thrown out, 6:30. My concern is anytime we move it, does that affect other people who work in the city who are now under the 7 o'clock, but now, well, the garbage comes at 6:30. So we can start working at 6:30. How do you make a case for that? And I'm sure there are ways, that's my first thought. Just the most simple thing is, if we go to early on this, what's to keep it from somebody coming in and saying, well, why can't I also?
I just threw out 6:30,
Yeah.
it's just like a
No.
random, like, kind of compromise.
Right.
I just. Like, I just didn't feel like ending the conversation with the survey of residents really got the full picture, because it was a really simple. Should we let them start at 6 or should we stay at 7? Yes or no? And it was really like black and white and not a lot of other information. And I think like after I learned some more information, I was a little more agreeable to changing the time. Yes.
What additional information? do you get?
Like when we talked about the, like the school buses and getting away from the school zone, I mean like that, if you were to just ask
Get out of
me,
the school zone.
you know,
before-
like 2 months ago when we brought it up. They want to do 6 instead of 7, what do you think? I'm like, no, you're fine. And then when we kind of got a little more information, I thought. So that's why I thought the survey just was a little black and white, that the citizens didn't have any other information. It was just yes or no.
Can I ask what the survey was or how that went, or
Yeah, the survey had.
do you have
two
a
questions.
lot of feedback?
Yeah, we did. We got comments, and I mean, those that didn't really care were retired.
Sure,
They, you guys can take it, pick it up whenever you want.
right,
There was about 190 that said leave it as is,
Sure.
and 88 that said they didn't care.
right.
So,
But I also think, to Lexi's point, the question was pretty black and white.
Yeah.
Cause if I had the choice of changing it or not knowing any of the other
I
details.
would say just leave it, it's fine, it works.
Right,
fine.
it works fine, but we don't, no one knows why we're looking to change it potentially. My opinion on the survey was pretty clear, so, I think that my 2 cents is that if we don't make some concessions and as we grow, they may have to put a second truck in here, a second person in here to collect it, which means their costs are going up, which means our costs are going up. The citizens' rates are going up. So if you pose the question like that, do you wanna keep it at 7 or do you wanna allow them to come in at 6 and potentially the rates will stay the same for a while? Or force them to come at 7, but your rates are going up? And that's a different question.
So when you look at it that way though, so our next bid's out in 2028, with our growth rate by 2028. Would you have to add another truck
Anyway,
I mean, what's your growth rate right now? I mean.
a little over 6%.
Yeah. So it's hard to say.
after the next couple of years. It's a big part of the growth.
Yeah. Just because that's including, apartments too, right?
Yeah.
We
There's gonna be-
dumpsters though, so.
Right, yeah, no, but the percentage of,
The growth.
Yes.
The bodies are.
The growth that we're looking at is residential growth right now. A lot
and
of
that's 6,
lots coming in.
That's the housing growth's gonna continue at the same rate or accelerate because we'll probably have more housing. And some of the projects that are coming in, so you'll have a duplex instead of a single family home
I mean, we've got 2 areas right now that are being.
that are being developed to do
That
that.
are over 100 homes.
Yeah. Right.
So would now we're make up 100 homes to keep our cost at a lower rate?
I mean, it's gonna definitely help because when I don't like talking this. I don't. So it's definitely gonna help to answer your question because like I said, when we're out there with nobody around, it's just. Everything flows real good. We don't have to wait for traffic, just pedestrians, all that stuff. So. Yeah,
But I guess when we look at that, what you proposed was the 100 houses that would affect were around this area.
right.
So is that gonna, if we added 100 homes, there's still gonna be people around in those areas at that time?
In the neighborhood.
No, if we were here at 6.
you know, if we're here at 6, we're gonna be out of here by 7 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna make up a lot of time
Yeah, this.
right here, you know, in this area. Then we can go over that way, away from this area.
Sure.
To try and
This is
avoid.
congested area.
Correct, yeah.
Especially at 7 o'clock.
7 to 8 o'clock, well, we're gonna really be slowed down because, you know, we're constantly healing pedestrians crossing that sidewalk to go to school. But, and I don't know what your guys, I guess, your growth rate, I feel like you guys are just gonna keep blowing up,
We are.
you know, as you have. So, but yeah, I can't give you a yes or no answer, I guess, but
Yeah.
but I guess it doesn't matter even if we go out to bid in 2028. Whoever puts that bid in is gonna have the same situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and whenever you bid, it's just wherever we're at and wherever vendors, at. I mean. So,
It's just a snapshot.
Yeah.
Time for that.
it's
What do you
whatever
think?
we can do, but. Yeah, that's a great point you bring up, though. You know, if we can be in here at 6 to try and avoid adding a second truck, yes, that is extra cost, that's labor, equipment, you know, fuel.
So
So,
those 100 homes. That's projected, what type of projection is that? Is that 2 years, 3 years, 5 years?
Oh, I can't predict that.
yeah, no,
Well, I know, but I mean,
Yeah.
based on our past.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably 2 years.
it depends on the economy, you know, if the economy kind of dies off.
We're
But,
still building houses though, I mean,
Yeah.
even at the interest
We
rates,
never
so.
slowed down.
yeah. Yeah, and that's very, very fortunate.
So those 100 homes, 2 years-ish, so
Yeah.
that puts us at 2027, about when bid, going out the bid again.
So if we have that, I think I see where you're going to, if we added that many houses in 2 years and we're still in the contract, he's gonna come back again and say, we gotta start at 6, we have 100 more homes to clear. Don't you think? So we're gonna have the same conversation 2 years down the road.
Or they're gonna put 2 trucks in here at the customer cost.
Or,
But we're still under
Or both,
contract.
Or both.
Yeah,
or we
I'm
could,
probably more concerned about the congestion, you know, in the tight areas of town than I am about the noise at 6. Most families are going by 6 to get kids out, to get ready for school or to get to work or whatever it is, so
I think the bigger.
I'm not concerned about the noise.
I think the bigger concern is people getting up to put
Yeah.
the
On the-
garbage out.
On the 50% of days that are extra windy here. It blows over.
You know, I didn't do that overnight.
and the first month,
Mhm.
until people either put it up the night before, or they slowly transition their schedule. We will work with all of the citizens in town that were changing, you know, those first 100 that are affected. Our guys will come back, and if it's not out, they'll make sure that they, on their tablets, that they don't just skip, you know, not out, and just keep lowering on by. They're gonna come back around and take a thorough job to make sure that it gets picked up. To avoid any conflict with City Hall, because.
Otherwise, they're calling you to come back and get it
Yeah.
anyway, just later.
So, but we do it, like I said, we've transitioned towns to this earlier start time, and there is that hiccup for the first couple weeks. But we make sure our guys have it in their head that you gotta go back, you know, you can't be that guy that just see ya, so. But that, and then when we, if we do this, you know, we'll make a nice sticker and we'll just place it right on the lid of the garbage can, remind the citizens that are affected on the route.
I think I'm comfortable with some sort of an adjustment. Whether it be 636 because of the congestion. Potential future costs going on with that trucks or something like that. The question I have is exactly what the mayor's question. How do we address contractors and stuff, other contractors?
So,
Because this is
I wanna start,
Is this because it's a necessity of the city that we need to, this is a service that needs to happen?
most people
Because,
want their trash picked up.
are you saying like contractors doing street projects like crack filling?
I'm thinking like even just building.
Construction,
Construction specific.
yeah, everybody wants to start earlier and earlier.
It has to be a city contractor.
And it's a service to our city.
Service.
Yeah, we're working
Construct, building a
Yes.
house is not as, I mean, it
It
is,
is.
but you know what I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a service.
We're directly working with the
Only, this, you don't want them starting at 6.
How do we know that in 3 years we aren't having a conversation about 5 a.m. and all the other stuff? What are,
We're not
the other
gonna-
time, the other communities you serve, what are the start times? You talked about
6 to
before.
6:30. Yeah.
Everywhere else?
Yeah.
And it's Farley.
Owen's 5 o'clock, but we're not gonna do that here. So,
Who else do you serve that's close to us?
well, you guys, Epworth, Farley, Dyersville, Earlville,
Dyersville,
Arlington,
6.
Indiana.
Dyersville starts early?
They're 7 o'clock. And every town is their own town, right? So you guys can do what you want with what you got, so. Yeah. Epworth, like I said, we're at 6 o'clock right by the high school, because there's so many cars, so many kids. And if we just
Right.
get in
Gotta
and get out of
get
there,
out.
we don't have to worry about nothing.
Kleesner Pavilion at Kelly Oaks. 300,000 and we'll go 6 a.m. At Kelly Oaks, it's really, Kleesner Pavilion at Kelly Oaks.
I didn't bring the check.
I just couldn't resist. Let's make it in.
No, you're recording.
No, I don't. It's a work session. I'm not voting.
It's less than 7, yeah.
I don't know. I think at some point, we're gonna have to go earlier anyway, because we're gonna get big enough where we're gonna have to do it. To me, it's about the safety and the congestion. You're contracted for the rates we have for the next couple of years, so
Hopefully,
if you had to
we
get
can-
another truck, you had to get another truck.
And then
That's not
once
enough.
we get to the end of the contract, we can do renew a contract, and just keep working with you guys. So, we do that all the time,
Yeah, we're gonna have to renew the contract to change the start times. So,
because it's in the contract, it
yes,
says.
Okay.
We just amend it
we'll amend
for
it, yeah.
start
Yeah,
times. We
but
wouldn't
I'm
change
saying-
anything else.
In
Oh, change any other terms.
26. or
2028.
2028.
So.
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it.
What is it?
Six.
That we're straw poll.
I'm sorry.
I'm okay with 6.
6 o'clock start.
I'm very supportive of the Kleesner Pavilion at Kelly Oaks.
Let's draw that up. Let's see what that looks like.
It's a big garbage can.
Do you want a big cake?
I feel like we're gonna have to do it at some point, so I probably support the time change now.
Yeah,
Make it easy.
I'm not opposed as long as it.
I'm worried about the congestion out here. It's only gonna get worse. And
We need to make it local.
I think we've got, everybody said yes.
but we're not actually voting tonight, are we? This work session,
No,
just a
we'll
straw
set a
poll.
public hearing next week, so we can.
At the council meeting,
We need to put it in the council meeting. It'll take a
Let's-
few weeks
You have
to.
to change my ordinance.
Right, so it'd be hearings. Yeah, that's
It'll be
fine.
3 readings.
Yeah,
So
that's
we're
fine.
looking at
Up to 3.
August.
Or Tuesday
Well,
at that.
latter part of July.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I can add it.
I mean, if
So we
it comes out with
Tuesday.
pitchforks tonight.
Public hearing the next First reading.
Yeah.
Just think it.
We'll set the public hearing on the 10th and then it'll be on the 24th,
Yeah.
and vote the 24th, and then you would change. Other approved by the end of July.
Okay.
So you can start August 1st.
Oh, I got it. Get the town crier on it.
And then
Yeah.
we're stuck on it, I guess, getting up the updated
Really
contract.
very flexible.
yeah, and then like I said, that week prior to when we start, we'll notify all the citizens.
Yeah, and we did get a bus route kind of schedule.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's
Yeah,
not,
send
I don't
that
know if
over.
we got forward to you or not,
Send that
but
over
we
to
can
us.
forward it to you, and
Yeah.
obviously they're kind of like, well, this isn't exact, but this is
Right.
kind of where the stops are, so we can get that to you.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna, then to do that, I would like to see you guys try to stay away from bus stops during
Let's,
their routes.
let's figure out the, really have the congestion thing down.
Yep, no, we'll work around it. Absolutely.
Sounds good. All right, thanks, Austin.
All right, thank you, we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See ya.
Last item on the agenda today is a meeting with, we've got members of the Casper Community Board of Directors. Thanks for coming. I'll say I've never met you, so that's part of my reason is like, hey, I wanna know who these people are. Tell me about how this all works right now. I guess that's. And
Let's do
names.
it.
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Can I interject for 2 seconds?
You can.
These two gentlemen,
Yes.
no? Do we care?
What if these guys ride?
We need Mike.
Oh, do you guys want these gentlemen to stay?
What if we run?
My bad, Ryder.
And just hand me your
Go.
Billy Club or whatever.
Oh, yeah. And that
Give me your.
line, I got
give me your
the dot.
pepper spray container.
Yeah, they're fine.
Good.
Sorry.
Good night, everyone. Thank you all. Enjoy your evening.
Thanks, guys.
You guys,
Stacy, wanna pull a chair around?
you guys
I
know
do,
Stacy
but I feel all by
or something?
myself.
Can't say that,
Oh,
we're on camera.
no, it's just a.
Camera.
Or something better, maybe.
Recording?
All right.
Alcohol related.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Have a
please,
good
some
evening.
introductions then.
Okay, Sarah Hanton, I live over on Munich Drive. I'm the Vice President of Operations at Travel Dubuque in Dubuque. And I have been on the board, Stacy, help me, oh God,
It's a minute.
5 years?
Yes.
Something, I can't remember, but yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
I'm Vicki Tilson. I live over in Thunder Hills. And I'm a former Piasta Elementary teacher
Nice.
and now work at different colleges in different capacities, working in the field of education. And I've been on the board about 5, 6 years.
I was gonna say, I think you're more new than Sarah, so.
Okay,
Sure.
so I'm less than Sarah.
Long time.
Yes, look up history.
All right, my name is Brian Wilson. I live over on Melinda Drive. I am the golf professional over at Thunder Hills Country Club. I'm the long-term member of the board. I've probably been here 8 to 10 years.
Nice.
Awesome. Thanks for taking the time to do that.
I was gonna say, and then I'll do Lynn's intro since she's not here. She had a travel day today and her plane got delayed and delayed. So she just boarded 10 minutes ago, so that's
Oh,
why she's
gosh.
not on Zoom. But yeah, so Lynn Maloney is the other one. We did have Luke Denzer was our 5th. He resigned about a month and a half-ish
Almost,
ago.
I thought you were gonna say 15 minutes ago.
No,
I
he
didn't get it on
just,
me.
he just doesn't live in Piasta anymore and kind of decided to take a step back, so. We wanted to have this meeting first before we tried to fill anything, but that's where we're at, but that's who's missing.
Like I started to say, I want to get a better understanding of how this works and how things are set up. I know Stacy reports into us 2, 3 times a month. She's in daily contact with the rest of the city staff. But just as how this whole facility, how do we decide, the banquet room costs X, this costs that, it is the biggest drain on the budget that we have. And it's a huge and wonderful amenity for the citizens of Piasta. And it is our defining,
That's
point,
it,
because
for sure.
we do not have a city center. So this really is it.
Yep.
So its value is very high. And my only being in Piasta for a little over 5 years, I look at it and say, we're under, I don't want to say undercharging, because it's not really a business per se, but it is. That there's value to be, there's value to be gained from the value that it has, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna kind of leave it open to you. I don't know what anyone else, they said my exposure with it, I've had 2 weddings here in the last 2 years. So
We should have charged more.
I should have. I absolutely said that to Vicki then when I.
You can make a big donation.
Yeah, I absolutely.
How about the
Sorry, Austin, you're up. So yeah, so I'm trying to get a better handle. I know Stacy, shares with Annette that, she's stressed out on days. Yeah, plate is full and there's another serving coming before she can move on. So, just, is there any, redesign of how it's run? How often does that get looked at? I know in your bylaws, it says quarterly meetings. Are you having quarterly meetings?
We have
More than-
Monthly meetings? Okay.
I know I read that in the bylaws, I'm like, damn.
I didn't know that. You told me I had to come every month.
Guess how many Stacy's coming to now?
No, so those bylaws were built in 2007 when this place was open.
Yeah.
So, I think it's obviously, everyone knows it's not the same bylaws as what we followed in years. In my time here, it has transitioned. We kind of had this discussion at our last board meeting. But it's transitioned in the past 10, 12 years. Once we got an administrator, it kind of transitioned, and it's definitely different now than it was then. When I got hired, the board hired me, the board had the right to fire me. Like, I mean, it was definitely different than where we are now, right? So I agree that the bylaws need to be adjusted and to make sure we're on the same page there. Yes, we meet once a month, with different things on the agenda, in terms of, and I don't want to speak for you guys, can jump in whenever you want, but to answer some of your questions, as far as pricing, we usually talk about them about once a year. Everything is on a fixed schedule, that I bring back to the board to discuss. The banquet room, I think, I don't know what the percentage is. I don't think we did a percentage. I think we did like a number, $50, $100 every other year is kind of the track we're on. With that said, Vicky constantly is looking at other places to find out how much rent is, to find out how much alcohol is, to find out all those different things. In terms of rent itself, are we a little lower than some places? Maybe. But I guess, I don't know whether it's business side of me or whatever, like get them in is half the battle, right? Once you get them in, we can charge, like, if we're gonna look at prices, we just raised our bar prices. That's where we make money, is our bar, is our whatever, once we get them in here. And as far as being lower, we're really not, like, we're just as high or higher than everyone in Farley. I wanna say that Dubuque Fairgrounds is the one that's close, but it's so hard because there's so many hidden fees in different places that they might list this, but it's not really this. You know, they have the kitchen fee, so caterers there have to pay, if I'm a bride, I'm paying $2 more a plate there than I am here because of, you know, there's just so many hidden fees that it's not, rent there's 1,000, rent here is 800, that's not right, but whatever, that isn't apples to apples. There's always hidden fees within that. So I think Vic does a great job making sure she knows what rates are everywhere, so we stay competitive within that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, do you guys have anything to add as far as when we look at prices? This guy likes to raise as much price as possible.
Yeah, right, let's talk.
So, I mean, ever since I've been on the board, I've always wanted of making sure we're charging enough, because it's a supply and demand thing.
Right.
And we have raised prices. I think like Stacy said, I mean, we gotta make sure that we're competitive. We just can't charge you an arm and a leg and expect the demand to stay there. And I know that, you know, in the future, we've got some other competition potentially coming with the distillery over there. So that's something that we're gonna have to look at when that happens. And, you know, potentially losing Crossroads fairly soon. I mean, there's a good chunk of revenue as well. So there's definitely some opportunities to really look at and see how we can change and adapt. I would say, since the city is moving into this building, I've kind of looked at it as our board as more of an advisory board, saying that the city is going to be taking care of most of the major expenses, because, I mean, the community center board doesn't have the funds to do that.
Sure.
Well, I think that's, I don't wanna jump on you right now, but what did we meet? 4 years ago?
It was before an ed,
Right.
so you've been here for, right? So
Week from Saturday.
So
Now
it's longer.
I'm counting.
We met a long time ago.
Yes.
And we probably should do it at least once a year. Because I think when we met back then, it was to figure out, okay, because we had the conversation, this roof goes, there's not enough day passes that can
No.
be for a roof, right? So we need to figure out how we can keep this amenity, because this amenity is huge for the city, right? I think it attracts people coming down to it. So we can't let it go south. So I think that was the main conversation then. And I think we've accomplished that. But I think there was some not confusion, but like, okay, what does the board do? And I think we addressed it 4 years ago. But I think maybe if we have these meetings once a year, every other 6 months, whatever, everybody's on the same page. We know what you guys do, what we do, how it's managed, what the expectations are, things like that. You know, as far as the pricing, I mean, you guys set the pricing, I think more of a 10,000-foot view of how it all works together, and especially for the people that haven't been here for a while. I think that would be good, is kind of explain what you guys do for Stacy or help Stacy and support her.
Let's say we're more of a sounding board with their ideas, and then we also bring comments that we ask the community center members
People.
on how we can, you know, improve the facility or add services, you know. I know Vicky and Lynn have been really working to improve that program.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think the whole purpose when the board started was to have people that are members of the center around people that use the center that here that are able to communicate needs outside of us. Obviously, we hear it too. I hear it too. Ty hears it too. Vicky hears it. Yeah, correct. To bring that outside voice in, right? On top of there's other things. Mark taped everything so we could paint the track. Vicky or Lynn does a newsletter for me every month. Like, I mean, there's that stuff too. Like a lot of the helping behind the scenes because of what you said. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm stressed out to the max and whatever, but there's a lot going on, and trying to add parks to it has been a lot. And we don't have a ton of staff, and so it is all hands on deck. And so all of these things, like, we've definitely had meetings about fitness and what we can do about fitness classes, getting those back up. And then, yeah, just, I mean, Sarah with tournaments, I mean, she does it with Dubuque, and talking about, you know, different options, different whatever. It's just, yeah, so I think sounding board is a good way of saying it, just to throw ideas off of what can we do without adding another full-time person that's really not on the docket. Like what else can we do to improve the Piasta Community Center for this? I will say when we had this meeting, that's what my like biggest thing is just to make sure we're all on the same page. Like these guys like are extremely passionate about the community center, and I love that. Obviously I am as well. And I just want to make sure we're going in the same direction. Like had goal conversations, we've done SWOT analysis, we've done like all these things, and I have some of the stuff in shared if we want to pull them up, but we have like a list of goals in each section of, you know, whether it's banquet room, whether it's ball field, you know, the weight room, whether it's the PCC in general, and updates we want to see within the next, you know, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, you know. So it's now when Sandy left, we had a lot of not super happy members, and dealing with that and what's the best course of action that we can take to not burn bridges, but also not completely throw our policies to the side, right? So something day-to-day stuff like that, right? To long-term planning. I think that, I mean, again, interrupt if you want me to, or if you want to, but it's, I don't know, a little bit of,
I mean, you talk
behind
about
the
Stacy
scenes.
being busy. When we did SWOT analysis, it was like everything you could think of. Money is no object. We're gonna talk about everything, you know, like what would it be? And the more we looked at it and we've revisited a few times, it's like, Jesus, that's like two more people. Like if we really want to continue with all of this, I mean, it just depends on like how that goes forward. And, you know, is that something, we know that we're not hiring anybody down there, but it was like, wow, we really want to get to the level that we think at some point we're gonna have to look at expanding, and from things of marketing to parks. And it's like, you know, Stacy will be like, oh, I was fixing the water cooler and 7 other things. And it's like, that's awesome, but it's also then time, because I'm dealing with the same thing at work. It's like, it's time that is valuable, and yeah, you know, maybe that she shouldn't be doing the maintenance, but yet it's something she can do and she jumps in. I think you don't find that a lot anymore.
Have you given any more discussion or any discussion about how to structure this with the new park coming on board and
We haven't had that discussion. I think that that discussion absolutely has to be had, whether it's this board, whether it's what it is. I mean, when you talk, it's bigger than that. It's maintenance of parks. How does Public Works fall into that? I feel like it's bigger than just.
Right.
I think honestly for me, I want to get Kelly Oaks done, but I want to get Kelly Oaks done. And I think at that point, we 100% have to decide, you know, how we're moving forward. I think the amazing part of all of this is the opportunities are endless, right? Like when we get Kelly Oaks done, the amount of special events we can do out there, the amount of, you know, just anything out there is awesome. It's just how much can be done with it. I mean, you say that out there, it's here too, right? The opportunities we have are endless in terms of more rec classes and more all of this stuff. We just to find the people to lead those, because we, you know, don't have the time to be able to do those on top of everything else. That makes sense.
Not only the time and the people to do it, the resources with which to give them a fair wage for the skill that they bring to. I think that is also something that's been something had to really hold us back, because we can't pay people what they could get if they
What they're
go to
worth.
SIS or they go in town or, you know, that's a skill set that people have and they wear their bodies out to lead classes. That's just one small piece of it. And we can't keep people.
Fitness instructors is what she's
Fitness,
referring to in
fitness,
this scenario.
But we also can't keep people to keep the fitness center clean. I mean,
So,
I don't know where we're at. I've been almost out of touch for
Been
2
on
months.
vacation.
I had, well, death of a family member
Okay,
and
yeah.
then a month vacation, and so I'm just getting back in the swing, but I don't know if we've hired anybody.
So so the cleaner, the maintenance person, knock on wood, it was around ironically a month and a half, 2 months ago, that one of our friends into that role. And you are a perfect person. Have you noticed it being cleaner? Don't say no.
Yes.
Okay.
He's in the weight room, we're gone.
Yeah, so she's been doing an amazing job. I've paid her more than I've ever paid anyone in maintenance before. So there's that.
Like in the ball fields as well. I had like
So ball fields.
3
you don't
people
have
come
to
up
for
to me and
maintenance.
say that ball field bathrooms are mess, and it's embarrassing to have people go in there.
Ball field bathrooms are rough because
Yes,
people use them
they are.
24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So the person that mows for us cleans the bathroom and he actually brings the hose and like washes down usually every other day. But again, it's kind of like here when you have a tournament, you go clean.
Use.
Or
in
you
an
have a
hour.
wedding or you have a big
It's
event, you're gonna,
dirty again.
this building gets no rest.
Yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
problem.
It is, yeah, 100%.
So as all, growth is good and bad, right?
Right.
So with all the opportunities that we have, unfortunately, we'll have costs. Just not here, but because just like we talked about the opportunity with the pavilion, right?
Right.
I mean, there's an opportunity to host tournaments here if we wanted to, but that's probably bringing another person on to run those tournaments. That's also then taking away the gym from members. As we grow, there's gonna be more demand from members.
What's our membership at right now?
Total membership, 7-Eleven. I read it this morning, it's the only reason I know that. And that's total
Impressive.
membership, that's total like packages, so I think it's around 2,500-ish.
So you're talking about, Brian, about different ways to create revenue.
And this is something that we struggle with probably at every meeting, because if we really wanted to, we could probably rent the gym out every weekend. But for us, it's like, yes, we need to
Saturday,
make money, we need to, make money because this is how you take care of the place, but at the same time, it's also an amenity. And people pay for it and they wanna come up and use the gym, so we do struggle. I bet we talk about it every
I view
meeting.
this place as a park. Right, it's a park. We're probably not gonna make money, but if we get closer to not losing the farm on it. So if we ran tournaments, basketball tournaments, volleyball tournaments, at the same pace that we rent it out now. Okay, which is what, at least once a weekend?
in January through March, yes, and it's turned more into November through March, but yes.
That's 5 months.
Yeah.
That's 20 tournaments,
Yeah.
right? How much tournament do you think you can make?
I don't know, so it's so hard for me because I know, so like, the tournaments we do, I will tell you that a Lori Gleamer's tournament, who has been doing it for forever, makes or fills up like that before it even opens. All 3 courts, all day, whatever. I booked some other new people that I hadn't heard. Those tournaments didn't fill up as fast, if at all, canceled a couple of them, because of it. So that's my fear in the volleyball world.
It takes a while to get your name out there.
Correct.
We've ran the tournament
Correct.
in West Dubuque and, I mean, first couple of years was rough, but then
Yeah.
once they realized that Brian was a hell of a job.
Correct, it's the,
Oh, wow.
Stroke the ego.
Wow.
Stroke the ego. But I mean,
I hardly even noticed.
would you say, I mean, I know our basketball tournaments, we declare between 6 and 8, right, depending on the year? Would that be roughly what you'd think?
that'd be my guess. I mean, but I think that there's a lot more expenses than you guys do volunteering doing it too. I mean, that's a lot more city
Well,
hall,
so if we
cutting
did,
checks for everyone, or, for umpires, refs, whatever the case may be. There's a lot more expenses that go into it. Do we have to pay the person at gate? Do we have to, obviously we have to pay the person
Right.
heading the tournament. We have to pay for all the hours of putting the tournament together. So there's also a lot more, I think, expenses that come
if we
from
did,
that.
let's just say conservative number 6.
Yeah.
Okay, times 20.
Mhm.
It's a shit ton of money.
Well, and I think that's why when we said this year that we are doing the one, to answer that question, to say, yeah, this is a good guesstimate of what we could make by actually doing it, like not guessing from someone saying that, I know you guys have to do the
Doing
tournaments,
your own tournament.
but have it, yeah.
We
have
have a
it-
lot of volunteers, we had volunteers in the concession stand,
Yeah.
in the gate, so.
Correct.
You got that cost.
Correct.
But right now, we're just renting out
Yes,
space
we don't- yeah, so we don't do anything, we just rent out.
at
and
the
they-
gym space.
Correct, and then they keep gate, they pay reps, they do,
Everything.
they pay the people there, they pay. I mean, and then you talk, yeah, security, I mean, there's people started having security guards here because parents are crazy.
Well, there was a, like the
So-
parking lot
Yeah.
during COVID.
Joe Kennedy was watching.
So, but yeah, so then I think that's the reason we wanted to start with one, like I get like 620 would be great, but yeah. I think that's probably me more than these guys being like, let's take a step back and let's try this and see how we do, what type of volunteers do we get, what type of expenses outside of everything else are there. Than a volunteer driven tournament.
Right.
And let's see what we're looking at.
Yeah, I think you do your first one and then put a P and L to it and see what
Absolutely,
you end up, you know, project out what you need for labor and.
absolutely.
Cause like you'd have to have someone here putting it together and running it,
100%,
and we're not gonna do it for nothing.
correct.
Maybe, I mean, if you had a guess, maybe it's 80 to 90. Bottom line.
Oh, that's a good number.
Yeah.
Different.
So yeah, I think, I mean, some of this goes to too, like, I've had different conversations, but when I first came in here day one, it was very clear, that $40,000 was my number. Like, I had to do anything possible to attempt to be within that 40,000, like that was my number, and we were. But I mean, I know you said as close to break even as possible, and I don't know what numbers are out there and where, whatever, but like, what is your guys' number? Like, what is you wanna see the PCC at this?
For me, that's a tough number to say, because like I said, I view it as a park. Parks don't make money, they cost,
Mhm.
right? Because you have to mow, you have to clean it, you have to do that, there's no revenue coming in.
Yeah.
At least this, we've got revenue coming in. a little bit.
Correct.
But at work, you don't staff from 5 AM.
True.
To be, yeah.
Right,
And the citizens of Piasta can only access it with a fee. I mean, either you have to be a member or pay day fees or what.
Right.
We're not allowing just open access to the citizens of Piasta, to this park.
Maybe say pool instead of.
cool, that's right.
It is, it functions.
I mean, we're looking at
It was fun.
Right, right.
It's a city asset, for sure, for the community. It's a community asset.
Like, I dodge that.
Yeah.
Well played.
Yeah, I don't think there's a hard.
You need to be
Yeah.
80% profitable or,
Whatever.
yeah, I mean, there's
Because-
just no number to it. It's
I'd
all.
like to see you just cover your cost. I mean.
So zero,
That's great.
Right, I mean, it's an amenity, you're not gonna make money on it, I mean, it's here at the pleasure, for the pleasure of the community. To me,
But
it's,
the
it's.
problem with
so-
that is that year that you need to replace.
Yeah, is it?
Well, I'm saying in certain levels, I'm not saying overall. I mean, you're obviously gonna have to set prices higher for something so that you can cover the roof, so that you can cover anything, the cooler that breaks down. Or the ball field that needs new netting or whatnot.
So I view ball fields not as PCC, I just wanna be, and if I need to look at that differently, please tell me. But I do not look at ball fields, I feel like now ball fields are in parks now, is very much how I view it in terms of money.
I think that ball program should be self-sufficient. Or.
The
yeah.
Prairie League itself is, but then you have facilities, yeah.
I just don't know with the way this is structured, that this place as a whole can break even.
Mhm.
So those are things that I think we wanted to know as a board, like we do hear things here and there. So it's like, well, do you not want us to, I guess, like, what do you want us to do? Like, continue the way we're going, Stacy has a budget, we we don't approve a budget, right?
No, it's all done.
Yeah. But just sometimes we're kind of in that dark of like, so are they ticked because we're spending money on new equipment, but at the same, you know, and it's like, but at the same time, we look at it as like, we are a rec center, we have to maintain these things in order to have people pay those fees,
Yeah.
or they're not gonna come, you know, they're like, oh, I'm not gonna join. Everything is broken and, you know,
And probably right now, because of where we're at and where all cities are at right now, any extraneous outside of the actual running of the city is under fire.
Yeah.
So I mean, why are we having this conversation? If our budget last year would have said, we've got $1 million to work with, keep going, we're doing great. But right now, we're at break even in the city. And we're just looking, I think everything is under the microscope right now. So I mean, I think that's what brings this to the forefront. And isn't a bad thing, because I think, you know, we do need to, all of us at different times, you know, we need to take a stopgap and say, where are we at? Where do we want to be? So I think this is one of those, where are we at? What do we want to be? Where do we want to be? And I don't think we have an answer to that. This is a fact-finding
So-
discussion.
I was gonna say, random question, like without saying the number, but like as far as perception, where is the perception of the PCCs at right now?
As far as.
In the red, in the black, where, like you said, we're costing an arm and a leg, like what is that perception of where we're at right now?
I would say in the red. I'm not sure by how much, but.
But now I think you're gonna have two, because you're gonna take a look at just the PCC and then the ball diamond separate, right? And I think you're looking at it as it all together.
Correct.
So there's the.
As where does it
perceptions
fit?
and-
Where does
Yeah,
it
no,
fit
perfect.
as the city budget?
It's hard to like, so I used to always include 430 within PCC, until 430 is one part. Until
I know what 420 is.
Until Whitney, we changed everything, stuff with Public Works started to go in there, so third of an end loader, third of a whatever. That's when I stopped including it within the PCC because it
so
me in control of the entire budget, it was now
City.
a third of every Public Works as well with those vehicles and with those, whether it's the Gator or whether it's whatever, those prices in there, if that makes sense. So yeah, so then yes, the perception is different in terms of, because I don't think there's a clear way to say within 430, it's just PCC stuff for the parks. It's no longer that.
So I would,
Sorry, do we have like specific numbers, this building, the employees in it, exactly where we land out?
Absolutely. Yeah, so like, so as of today, right now, without the payroll, because it wasn't in when I did numbers, we're $3,400 in the black. And 6,800 of that, like, that would not help us, is a donation to Piasta Days. Like, I think there's some of those numbers in the PCC budget that if you feel like it should be, then so be it, but it's hard to have
Oh, I see.
like. That, I mean, that puts us at 10 grand in the black. It's not anything earth shattering, but we're not $100,000. I will tell you 430 was minus 31,000 when I looked this morning. In there, and that was. I don't know all the expenses.
What is that
within
on?
there, I'll tell you.
So if you just took the ball diamond
Yep.
expenses, what does that all include?
So initially, like back in the day, it included my wages for my workers for just like Larry, just to mow the ball fields. Just my concession workers, the price it takes to maintain the fields, and that's what it was. It is now the price to maintain anything. So the contractors mowing the fire station, mowing Kelly Oaks, mowing
It's all
the way
parks and
station, it's
stuff.
all now going into
It's all
430.
dominant Parks.
So all of that is now going into 430, where that never was the case before. So when it was the fire station and was all these little green spaces that got donated to the city, all used to go to Public Works, I believe. It never went into 430. So that's why I said there's no good way to say
Mhm.
it's just that area, because now it's,
Do the ball
Green spaces
diamonds
within the city.
make money or lose money as a whole?
including or not including Spiegel Field.
As an item in
so
themselves?
it's a- you have
So
to.
you gotta.
If you're gonna say ball fields, you gotta say ball fields.
I mean, so yeah, by far, Spiegel Field is our,
Albatross.
What's the biggest cost?
maintenance. I mean, between the clay, the lime, the clay blocks. sprinkler system, and just overall ground maintenance.
Is it the fact that we're not charging
Well,
enough
so.
to Clark to take care of it?
So, but that's the problem is they are the ones taking care of it. Like we
have to
could,
supply the items.
so they supply, we only supply those to the summer. Clark supplies all those items. So in the winter, right now in the summer, so WD and Semi-Pro and Babe Ruth, those are the ones we supply those items for. With that said, if we get lime for the warning track, then we pay for that.
Do we charge WD, Clark, or the summer people,
Semi-Pro,
summer pros, do we charge them anything for these?
so Semi-Pro we do not, Babe Ruth we have not, and then WD we do. WD we charge the same, I think we charge the same as what Farley charges. I think we're actually higher than what Farley is. So it's hard to raise the rent anymore for them. But yeah, so I mean, would the baseball fields make money with just Prairie League and whatever? Yes. Yes, it's when you throw everything else in.
So I'm gonna take a look at Spiegel Field and see what we do.
Yeah. I mean, if you want a college to play baseball there, or even the softball field, so that, I mean, you gotta look at it as a whole. I mean, if
And
it
those
is,
are discussions, obviously, I mean, the reason, NICC is a big discussion, obviously, we all want them here, I think we all know this, we all. Same, whatever, I mean, there's some TLC that needs to be done for them to want to come here too, in terms of stuff that has to happen on the softball fields that, that we don't have nets that go up, we don't have bullpens, we don't have tarps for the infield, we don't have stuff that a collegiate softball field needs to be able to play here. And then as far as Spiegel, obviously Clark versus NIC, we need to figure that out still. But it's a work in
I
progress.
think I know my.
We have a
I
couple
know my
of years.
answer.
No, I mean, I know, I mean, I talked to, I mean, they know, I've talked to Clark, he knows that our goal is to have NICC here in 2 years, like that's not, it's not something that's like a secret or that isn't out there.
And Clark is looking other places.
100%.
They should,
No, they have
something
to.
over
They
there,
have to.
they would go hard.
They just need a
100%.
good donation to the college.
What's that?
They just need a good donation to the college and then
And then
they'll
they'll
go
let her
around.
And I think you're gonna, I don't know what it would cost to do, have someone do that maintenance instead of players and teams, but I think whether it's NICC or WD or Prairie League, should be able to break even.
On Spiegel.
If we did the maintenance,
Well, I mean, you'd have to figure
Where
it
they
out.
fund it.
Yeah, figure it out.
they would have to pay.
Elevated fees.
Right, right.
Oh, 100%, I mean, if NICC, yeah, I mean, they're.
But then you wanna have a baseball softball person maintaining it because they know what they're doing.
yeah, I mean, if you go to that diamond from March, April, part of May, it's probably one of the best diamonds in the county. You go in July and it's terrible, it is burnt out.
That's because we didn't have sprinklers for a little bit.
I don't
That
think
didn't
it's-
help, it didn't help,
Just-
it wasn't just sprinklers, so.
When you had the coach at the time out there on his hands and knees cutting in the infield.
Right.
I mean, that's the pride he took in doing that stuff, where
Speaking of NICC, going forward as they add sports, volleyball, basketball.
Yep.
What are those discussions looking like as far as the gym here?
I mean, that.
I mean, it's, I know it's not tomorrow, but.
Yeah, so when the last I talked to the AD, like he hadn't said that those are for sure on the docket, like.
Okay.
When we initially, like before they actually got any sports, we talked about it. And the discussion was at that time, like obviously we're willing to figure out something, if there's a way to figure out something. But it was weird hours, like, okay, so you're practicing in morning, so you're using the weight room when we're closed, or you're doing this practice after close, or you're doing whatever. At that point, when I had those conversations, they didn't think past that. So not only do we not have bleachers, do we not have any of that stuff that they would need for it, we don't have a laundry room. We don't have an athletic training room. We don't have locker rooms that they have a home and away. Like there's a lot of things that we don't have that fit in there. And so when I posed those questions, it kind of stopped because they didn't have answers for me. And so I think that they know that they can approach. I just don't think that they have questions answered yet. I mean, I guess that's where, I don't know if you're hearing something from them or if they say something
No,
different.
I'm just,
but
I just know, I think
that's-
when we all saw the, baseball team and softball team playing in Farley.
Yeah.
Our, little piece of our hearts all just kind of
Yeah.
died that day. And rather than have that happen again,
Yeah,
I mean, if we can,
Yeah.
how?
yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, it would have to be working together and yeah, and it's kind of like Sarah was just saying, like. I've always said that I'm walking a thin line with tournaments in the winters, like, we're walking a thin line. Whether or not we've crossed or not, like, is up for debate. But I feel like it would be the same thing again, like, I mean, there's definitely a line to walk. I truly don't think if they have games or something that we could have downstairs open, period. Like, we'd have to close both bathrooms to be able to use locker rooms, we'd have to, I mean, there's some of that stuff, is that worth it? Is that,
Right, that's, yeah.
Is that our
actually,
goal?
the whole building.
so yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say no, I don't even want to talk to you, there's definitely questions that would have to be answered.
I think they have a lot of work yet to do on their end to see if it's even gonna be viable.
I mean,
honestly.
I'm trying, like, so one of the things I didn't do as an update, but I'm working with the esports coach. He's gonna do his first, we're gonna do like a dummy esports clinic on June 18th. I just finalized it yesterday. He's gonna have some of his college students come over and lead a group of kids in, I think it's the new Mario Kart that's gonna be out by then, to see how it goes. Like, so I'm trying to like build those relationships and have like not just baseball and softball, but esports and what we can do to continue to grow together. Like, if not, definitely haven't shut a door, definitely. So I'm actually gonna do it in the golf sim room.
What if I wanna use golf?
It's-
I will call you grandma.
So yeah, and actually.
I think your game's as good as it's gonna get.
So actually, I was just talking to
Appreciate you do.
I was just talking to Annette this morning, they got a like TV, whatever, floating TV travel, whatever.
Donated.
Yes, that, I was like, what are you using that for? She's like, it's yours, I'm like, yes. So I'll have a TV that travels too, so we can have a couple switches going at the same time to do like a tournament stuff. So yeah, so like I want to continue building those relationships. And I plan to continue to build those relationships, it's just.
I'll share with you, last year at a hospitality, a tourism speaker came from Madison. The biggest thing that's blowing up right now on any sport is esports.
I've
And
got.
it's an untapped market that, I mean, they will fill an auditorium, 800 people for esports in some colleges.
I have a friend who has a son who's got a scholarship for esports.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's
all the
huge.
time the teachers are telling my kids to get off the stuff, off the computer.
And they're making money, like, they're making money, they get, yeah,
Yeah.
like scholarships are, yeah, obviously, but they get it's crazy how much money some of them are making just for
Halo
playing
man.
games.
Get off my lawn.
Is there anything that the board has questions on council, like something that you see us doing or we had concerns about or?
I think we just want a direction on what you want from us. How you want us to proceed in the future.
I think it's just, yeah, the open discussion, as John, alluded to, where we have more than just one meeting in 4 years, to better understand where you're at and what you need from us and how can we make that work?
And then you knowing where we're coming from, where we ain't got no money.
I'm getting tired of saying that.
Well, they got a brand new building, so they shouldn't need anything for a while.
Wow.
Ouch.
So does this esports have, like?
But I think
You know.
we should get together at least twice a year.
Yeah, I would take it.
If not sooner, I mean,
Yeah, I don't think anyone came in here with, this is what we expect.
Yeah.
This was hey, what do you guys do? How do you do it?
Yeah.
At least from my perspective. I think John probably has the best understanding of what you guys do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Well, and on the flip side too, like if you guys have questions. Communicate better or something, I can do better, we need to know too, or I need to know too, so that we can get you the information you guys want, or you guys need, or whatever it is.
I think we'd invite any of you to come. Third
Third
Wednesday, 7 a.m. usually.
We've been
is when we meet.
I'm getting my garbage out.
Have them come and sit in.
Yeah.
So that questions could be answered or at least entertained and brought back.
I'm here at 7, I might as well come down.
Yeah, we'd love to.
It's Wednesday's third Wednesday.
And you guys meet in that little side room right beside your.
The coffee room.
Yeah.
You're.
Our-
You were
Yes.
down having to take care of Mike.
Yeah. No, agreed.
I don't have anything else, so I really appreciate you guys coming today.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, be here, yeah.
I came to one meeting, maybe
You did?
We did, we came to one.
one, yes.
And they
Oh, I'm sorry, you came to one where I went. and then-
Yeah, I think it was one or two, but yeah.
But-
All right, thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.